This is the On the Run with Jess and Tom podcast.
I am Jessica Taggart.
And I'm Tom Conway.
Welcome to the podcast. So today we are going to talk about this wonderful gym membership we signed up for. This is the kind of gym we really been longing for, I think. It's a transformative kind of gym. It is our spiritual gym. And we do this every day from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And I am going on my 4th month.
We do it every day, Jessica?
Well, it's for 30 days. We take Sabbaths off, which are 7th of every month, the 14th of every month, the 21st of every month, regardless of the date. It doesn't matter if it's a Monday or Tuesday. Okay. So we've been doing it. Like I said, for me, it's going to be my 4th month. It's my 4th month.
February.
Tomorrow is going to be day 4 of my 4th month. And for you, it's going to be day 4th of your 3rd month.
Correct.
So we are really learning a lot, and we're very grateful to James MacNeil because he really devotes his time every morning. He's the one who created the 30-day miracle challenge. This is the name of this challenge we do. And he devotes a whole hour every day to meet with his community. And this is pretty amazing, right?
Yeah. And so, I mean, listen, James is a very busy man. He's got a bunch of projects going on, a bunch of obligations. He has, he has business obligations in terms of the business world where he coaches, leaders and different groups and all that kind of stuff. And so the fact that he chisels out an hour every day, and I won't say begins his day like this because he's an early riser. He gets up, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I think more towards 3 he likes, and he's got stuff done by the time he gets on the call with us at 7. He's already taken a walk. He's already done his thing. He's like, he comes to the meeting ready to roll. And it is a lot to say. It's really it's really nice to be part of.
Yeah, I really love how he is very committed to his community, and the community is called the Dreamlife community, which I love. And well, I want to repeat this quote. I think I said it in a previous podcast, and this is actually his quote, right? And this is where it all started, I think. The power in the physical world is measured by how much you can lift up. The power in the spiritual world is measured by how much you can let go. And this is one of the lessons I think we're still learning. We're still in the process of learning to let go of things that don't serve us anymore, attachments that don't serve us anymore, limitations that don't serve us anymore. Right. And because of all these lessons, I think we're learning better ways to do this, right?
Like a couple of hippies.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
We keep on learning and we love to share what we learn. So this is why we're here, actually. So what would be like the most impactful day so far for you?
Well, we just had, one of the ones I love most, we just had yesterday, which is day 3. And the reason being that is we learned the pure meditation process. And so for me personally, I have never been able to meditate. I've tried, maybe 3 or 4 different time periods in my life, where I've tried to do it. I remember the first time, I was a kid in the 70s, and so meditation was like the rage in the 70s. So I remember we tried it in school in like a health class once. We were in grammar school, and I could never do it. I was just like thinking about other stuff. I was all over the place, and I always had that experience. A few times, even as an adult, different business meetings, they would always bring in like wellness coaches and stuff like that. I was just never able to do it. This is the first time. Long story short, this is the first time I was able to do it. I was month 1, I still wasn't able to complete it, but in month 2, I was able to meditate for nearly 20 minutes, and it was not only was the meditation itself really cool. I just felt so great to have like broken through a barrier that's always been in my, and I'd be somebody who would have answered the question, oh no, yeah, no, I can't meditate, or I don't know how
Yeah.
to meditate,
Well, that
or
was your
whatever it
answer.
is. Yeah, right.
When we
We
first
spoke about
started talking and I
yeah,
asked you about meditation, you're like, it's no way I can do it. You know,
yeah,
my mind is always
yeah,
too busy.
yeah.
And I try to give you like tips here and there, but
I
you're
don't
like,
like
nope,
tips actually.
nope.
I don't enjoy tips.
Thank
No,
you,
and
James.
I,
You fixed that problem
maybe
for me.
if I'm waiting your table, you could certainly tip me, but other than that, keep it to yourself.
No, you're very good at listening to advice.
Kidding.
Yeah, you're very good at taking advice. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, like the first day is definitely like the opening day is great because you kind of start thinking about what your dream life vision would be, right? And he pushes you to be creative, to start thinking like if you already have it, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of this whole, you know, the affirmations and everything. If you think about the things you really want and the thing and you visualize exactly where you want to be, like if you're already there,
Yeah.
I think that's the secret, right? That's
Yeah. And so, but like, let's, I want to actually touch on something there, right? Because want. And so the thing is, you know, we get into, and I'll talk about this more because my next favorite days are a group of days I'm going to talk about in a minute. But it's even that, right? It's want. And so I think the first thing that triggers in people's mind is, oh, I want a car, I want a boat, I want to, and the wanting is on a much different level, you know. And it really, we refer to them as desires, right? Because they're not just things, you know. They're it's really, you know, what things do you want to see in your life? What would you like to see in your life? And so it's so many different aspects of you know, desire. Let's say, you know, it's if you know, spiritual growth. It's yeah, of course, finances are part of everything, right? People want to be financially healthy, and emotionally healthy as well. And you know, I want my kids to go to a great school. You know, it spans the spectrum of want, so to speak. But it's a very healthy kind of want. And for me, and again, I'll elaborate this, you know, in a minute. I had forgotten how to even want anything. You know, the first time that came up, I was just like, I don't know, I'm pretty happy. And I am, you know. And so I always mixed up contentment and desire, so to speak, you know, whereas like I'd like to see X, Y, and Z, but then at the same time, you know, am I not grateful for what I already have? And I certainly am. Like I feel like I've had a really great life, you know. So it was just such a it was just, this is a great mindset. You know, we talked about the mind shift with it, Erwin, you know, last week. And
Yeah.
this is another mind shift kind of thing, that just gets you really, really thinking. It's really great. It's a really important growth tool.
Yeah. I feel like it's very, very important to what I like the most, I think, is that you actually learn to relearn to dream. Like if you like you the way you used to do it when you were a little boy, whenever you know, I remember when I was a little girl, I thought I could fly. You know, when I was a
We're taught not to dream.
when I was a little girl, I used to, oh my God, I'm still a big dreamer, huge
Yes.
dreamer. But when I was so a small girl, I didn't see any handicap, you know, the handicap side of what I see now, right? Everything was like, yes, of course. I saw myself in the big runways, being a great designer, you know, decorating my beautiful house. Like I saw it as being possible. And I was like, wow, yes. But I created these dreams. And for me, they were so real. And for me, I was going to be able to do it, right? I didn't see any limitations. So I love when, you know, in one of his lessons, he said, you need to dream like if you were 5 years old.
Yeah.
When you think everything is possible, when you think Superman really flies, right?
Yes, when you need, I think. Yeah, and so that, you know, that's one of the things, right? One of the reasons why I really like working with you, is that like you're somebody who has an idea, and while I don't like how quickly it becomes an action, you know, I like, you know, to orchestrate things a little bit more thoroughly, but it does come into action, you know. And I just really admire that, how you do that. You just like have an idea, like before you know it, you know, stuff's happening. That's why I generally say no to everything, because if I
Yeah.
say yes, it's
Yeah, I mean,
it's an issue.
I just feel like everything I want to do, I want to do it yesterday, kind of
I
thing,
noticed.
and I don't know what the rush is, but I just feel like if I don't move quick enough, things are just gonna fall through the cracks of my fingers or whatever you want to say, it's just like I need to grab it while I have it, while my idea is still like fresh and I'm excited about the idea,
It's
and
my plan is, I have a do nothing strategy. And so I know if I wait, nothing will happen. And that's exactly what I want.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? If you just get past the excitement, you'll get over it.
Don't do it. No, I'm like, I'm always very excited. I'm always very excited about these new ideas, new visions, and the fact that I feel like lately, both of us have found what our life purpose is.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
We're pretty close to know what our life purpose is, and I feel, and I'm just so like fire up by that. I can't stop. I just can't. And I have 2 jobs. I do this
Get
with
3.
you,
Get another one.
and then and I do my other
Stop
business.
taking so many jobs.
Yeah, well, I have 2 businesses, a job, 2 jobs.
And so
Well,
while we're talking about this, why don't we tell or explain what a typical day is like, right? So if you don't mind, I will.
Yeah, sure.
So it's promptly. Well, let me begin. 6 o'clock, you get a reminder email from the Miracle Magnets. That's what you are when you participate in this Dream Life community. You're a Miracle Magnet, and so you get a 6 o'clock reminder email. Promptly at 7, most of the time. Sometimes it could be a minute late or so, but most of the time, exactly at 7, the moderator starts the Zoom call, and so it takes place in a Zoom meeting every day. And there's quite a few people on. I mean, I don't want to give away too much details. Like I feel like I don't know if I've said this already, but I think a lot of this stuff is James's information to share, and so I hope that if somebody does listen to this episode, that they may want to sign up. I encourage you to do that, and so you'll get all that information firsthand from the expert, of which I'm not. But anyway, so the meeting starts at about 7 o'clock every day. The moderator starts the call. Everybody greets each other. You tell everybody what the current time is, your local time, where you are and where you're from. People say good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever's appropriate for the time of day where the member is residing. And then a few minutes later, James joins the call. Usually fired up, coming in, energetic. He goes through what he's done already that morning, and maybe something that's happened in the news in the last 24 hours or something, just kind of a little chit chat for a few minutes. He introduces the lesson of the day. And then we watch about anywhere from like a 20 to 25-minute recording of the day's topic, of which he is on
the lesson.
Yeah, he is on video going through the lesson in depth. And you have your workbook, which I think is around here somewhere. We have our workbooks. And then we go through the lesson of the day, and then approximately, like I said, 20-25 minutes later. And now this is usually just about at about 7:30 or 7:35 in the morning. Then we get back on, and everybody discussed. First questions are moderated through the chat by the moderator and fed to James, and then James will respond to them if there are questions. If not, then we would fill the questions left over from prior days. And then if not, it's usually further explanation on the lesson. James might go in depth about something else, or we might just have related conversation that somebody else brings up in the chat. Could be a birthday, could be whatever, but just people kind of just share with each other. And so it's a really cool way to start your day. I mean, I don't always look forward to it. I'll be honest, it's like, this is kind of early. If you're out late the night before, it's like, I'd rather not do this. But it's also great when you do it and you keep that promise to yourself. And so like Jess said, I mean, it's my 3rd month now. I have no plans on stopping. In fact, we intend to, take our membership to the next level, which is we're going to become tribe members, but that's for another day.
Yeah.
So we'll be fully brainwashed. No, but really,
I hope. I really hope.
No, but so that's what it's worth. And if anybody knows me, I'm as cheap as the day is long. So if I'm putting money towards something, it should tell all of you something, because I'm not somebody that likes to part with a buck very easily. And so I believe in this program. It's been really good. And then I don't know, why don't you just go back and like mention maybe another day that you really like, or 2, or whatever you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, another thing I wanted to share with everybody is that every day you have your daily disciplines, right?
Mm-hmm.
You walk 10 minutes in nature, if possible, every day. You drink a lot of water. That's one of his recommendations as well.
I think these 2 liters, is that the recommendation? I forget. I always
Yes,
drink a lot of water,
2 liters.
so
Yeah.
it's not a thing for me.
And then also you practice the quantum breath first, right? Which is amazing. I You really need to join so you learn what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you every day you will review your life manifesto, which is your dream life vision,
Yeah.
right? And you revisit your vision and you rewrite it, you rethink it, you like it's every day
Yeah,
you remind yourself,
that's
right?
another thing I really like about this. And so, by the way, there is a work commitment involved here. Do not miss that. Do not sleep on that. You're talking about probably an hour a day. Most days could be more. Some days it's less, but I would say to figure on an hour, right? And before you say you don't have that time, you definitely do. So
Yeah.
cut it out. But
Hmm.
anyway, and so yeah, it's an iterative process, right? And so, but by the time you get to days 7, 8, 9, and you look back at like on day one, you put down some miracles, in your life, some miracles you'd like to see. And they could be whatever, it doesn't matter. But you're revisiting those things. You're going back on your dream life manifesto, which is basically your definition of what you believe you want in your life. And so, but it changes, and you'll realize by day 8 that either day 1 you might have already had that experience in your life. Like I know we've had a few,
Yeah. Hmm.
and then you find out like that, yeah, you don't want that as much as you thought, or you want something different, or your lists,
You
they
refine
grow
it.
with you,
Mhm.
so it's really pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, I really love that. And one of the things he says every time, I mean every day, it's everything is perfect, everything is improving. I'm living my perfect peaceful life in this present moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are so like sometimes we're so caught up with the past, with our mistakes from the past, with the stories from the past. So we like to live in that past tense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes we're just too worried about the future, too anxious about what's going to happen tomorrow, right? What's going to happen with this idea? You just get so tense, so you
Well,
live
it seems far away, right? Like it's not actual,
right, and
it's
you
not
live
there.
in that future tense.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're living in your present, but you're living in your present tense.
Mm-hmm.
And he says this is not the way we want to live our present. We don't want to live our present in tension,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to live in a perfect, peaceful present, knowing that everything is perfect
Mm-hmm.
and everything is always improving. Even when the situations don't seem like the right situations, even when you're having a hard time, I can assure you those tough times are preparing you for something, you know.
Always.
And
Always. I mean,
I've
listen, if
seen
you've
that.
gotten to our age, you know that already. I hope, you know that you can look back in your life and kind of look back at those moments that were really particularly dark or challenging, and you see the outcomes. I think already. I don't know if everyone does. I assume everyone does, but you do. You know.
Yeah, but it's
And I think that's cool. Like that's a faith, that's a faith issue for me. I'm a person of faith, but I know that now, and that's such a strong thing to be like when you're in the pit to go, okay, like I know something good is going to come out of this. Like that's a really important mindset, and I didn't always have that. Sometimes you're like, oh man, again, like what the, like I cannot get out in front of this train. But when you live, you live a little while, you understand that, oh, you know what, that was then, or oh wow, I remember that I had this experience back whenever, you know. And so now when I have a negative moment, I am patiently waiting, for the good to come,
yeah.
and sometimes it takes a while, but
In my experience, every time I go through a hard time, I'm like, I just want it to be tomorrow because I know I'm gonna have the answer to all this madness tomorrow.
yeah.
I just want God to show me what this is for. What is all this for? What's the answer? What's the lesson?
Mm,
You know?
yeah.
So and just another thing that we practice every day with James is we are dancing with divine, right?
Yeah.
Always. So if we have that faith where we know he's always going to take care of us, right?
Yeah.
We live at ease, it's just such a different experience, right?
But I think it's probably important, right, to interject, because I don't think that either one of us have said it yet. I mean, this 30-day miracle does operate under the assumption that there is a higher power, not necessarily a belief set or a faith, that any faith will do. But the understanding is that we all believe that there is I mean, for us, it's God, right? At the very least, there's an energy that's running the show, right?
Yeah.
Like that you got to get on the bus with that ticket. And there are atheists and there are Buddhists and there's like a whole bunch of different faiths on the call, which is really cool. And people are very respectful of each other's, belief sets,
Yeah.
Even wishing each other, to enjoy holidays of a faith that they're not even practicing themselves.
I
And so
love that.
That's really nice. Yeah, it's a very accepting group. And so I just wanted to mention that only, just because I think that, if you weren't expecting that, you get on the call, you might be like, oh, this is.
Yeah, no,
kind of fruity.
he really speaks about a higher force of love, a divine source of love, right? And the divine source of love for us who believe in God is God, right? The divine source of love for other religions is just something different, right? It could just be the source, that source of all the goodness. For me growing up, God and love for me is the same thing. And it's not a matter of religion, it's a matter of relationship.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
where there's love, there's God. And love is hope, love is honest, love is faithful, love is patient, right? So where there's all that, there's God. So we hope to bring God everywhere we go. So
can't help it. He's coming along.
there's compassion. Yeah.
You know?
So it's huge. It's huge to start your day like this. And this is one of the first things, I think I started switching that side of me, because I would start doing something, pursuing something, and I would stop in the middle of it, right? Or 3/4 into it. But I feel like this past year, after all these realizations in my personal life and all, and just to know that I really needed to make a change in order for me to be able to move forward, I was like, I'm not gonna let myself down any longer, because I've done it for too long.
Yeah,
so
I'll do that for you, buddy.
yeah.
Don't.
No, please, no. So I when I committed to do something, I just push myself.
Yeah, you're an annoyingly persistent person.
Oh my God. I just have to, when
Get out of the way.
When I started doing my training for the somatic healing, I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I don't know how. I'm gonna put the time into it. I'm gonna study what I have to study. I'm gonna practice the times I have to practice, and I'm proud of me, because and that's the part you want to do. You want to make yourself proud of yourself.
100%.
You commit to your word with yourself,
it's
right?
Everything.
Yeah, it's everything. So, and I'm committed to this too. Like, I don't miss a day. I don't miss a day unless it's a Sabbath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my other favorite days was yesterday, day 2.
Yesterday was day 3.
Oh, the day before yesterday. The day before yesterday is, well, you always revisit your dream life vision, like I said before, right? We say the Dreamlife Pledge, which is like a prayer that James made, that is beautiful. And the Dream Life Mantra, which is another great affirmation.
I'm gonna cut you up right here. Let's listen. If you're listening to this is probably the part where you're like, all right, there's no chance I'm doing any of this. But I can tell you, as somebody who, believe me, I was like, yeah, this is not my style. It's got value.
It does.
It's great.
It does.
It's
and
great. It's a mindset change without a doubt. But it's really it's really good.
So this was my 4th time listening to day number 2. But every time I listen to these lessons, I get something new out of it.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. You know, you
It's
could,
weird.
yeah, it is.
I
Well,
guess because your mindset is in a different
it's
place.
not just because your mindset, it's because he's on the call live, right? And so no 2 days are alike. And so what's going on, you know, there's a lot. First of all, he's a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
And he's a great thinker. And so, you know, he's thinking in real time. And so he's also having realizations that particular day based on a question someone asks or something. And then so you get like this, there's just a new dialogue, you know. And
Yeah.
so even though they're marked by the same, you know, numeric sequence every month, that they're not, I mean, yeah, the topic of each numbered day is the same every month, but the experience is not.
Yeah.
It's different.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is true. So, and one of the things he talks about is the affirmations, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you say your affirmations? And before I was like, I used to say, I just don't want to continue working. And I kept saying working. So God gave me more work, you know?
Yeah.
So, and now I know if you don't want more, if you don't want more of something, you shouldn't even mention it.
Right.
Right. So your affirmations should be personal, present tense, positive, powerful proclamations,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like this hit me in a different way this time for some reason, because I keep saying in my mind, you know, I don't want to continue working this long, these many hours anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to continue because I feel like I'm surviving, like we said at the previous episode. I'm just killing myself to live very little, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I feel. So I'm like, and that's being in my heart. Like, I don't want to continue doing this to myself. Right. So I, and I have such a fire for all the other things I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'm not going to consider all of this work because I'm passionate about this. You know,
Right.
I'm passionate about putting myself to the service of others. So this is exactly what I want,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say I don't want to work anymore. I'm
Right.
going to say I want to put myself to the service of others and make that my daily, my daily tasks, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was very powerful for me. So do you want to tell
Yeah.
us what other day you're like
Yeah, yeah,
really?
yeah. So it's not I mean, it's not a day. It's actually 3 days, but with the same subject matter. And so it's days 4, 5, and 6. And so that is the development and the build out of the coding worksheet. And so it's part of what I alluded to before. And so, you know, on day 4, you know, you begin by listing 30 things you're grateful for. Now, as I mentioned before, you know, I'm an Irish kid, but taught not to dream, right? So I'm telling you, I couldn't, for month 1, I couldn't think of 12 things that I wanted, so to speak, desires, you know. I was just, I stared into the paper. I think I put an hour and change into it, and I really couldn't get anything out. And I was almost embarrassed with the fact, like, I can't believe that I can't figure out 30 things, you know, that I want, or whatever it was. And so that was that. And then so anyway, that begins black. But what I like about that day is that the first thing it begins is 30 things that you're grateful for. And so I think that's really important. You know, like they say, you know, gratitude is the attitude of altitude. It's so important. 30 things. And I believe that no matter who you are in the world, and I certainly am empathetic and understanding that many people have a very, very difficult life. But I believe there's 30 things that you could be grateful for, even if it's the fact that you still have all 10 of your toes, or that you can get out of bed, or whatever it might be, you know, eyesight. I have no idea. But anyway, I think you could probably get through 30 things to be grateful for. And then it just sets your mind in such a, you know, such a nice place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so you step into, and this isn't intentional, you know, as we know, this is designed by James on purpose to begin first with gratitude before desire. And then so it's the mindset, you know, again, is shifted. The heart is shifted. And so you just, as you start laying out the desires, I think they just tend to be on a different frequency, similar like we spoke about last month. You know, it's just a much more soul felt type of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so needless to say, so that happens. So then what happens is in day 5 is, if you couldn't get through 30, you're not going to like day 5, because then it's 101 things. And so I put about 2.5 hours into that day, sitting there trying to crank out, you know, 101 things. And so eventually I got through it. You remember we sat here and
Yeah.
like it was like now 6 o'clock that night, and I finally come up with like the last 10, but it was so powerful for me because I had never been able to do that. There was no way. I just, like I said, I think somewhere in my life, I got gratitude confused with desire and greed and like all those things, and um, I just never felt like I could even want that way, you know. And
Yeah.
so I was so happy again for myself. That was a personal breakthrough of sorts, just to be able to dream,
Yeah.
just to be able to say, hey, these are the kind of things, the kind of outcomes I'd like for my life and for the people that I love and stuff. And so that it was just it was a huge growth moment for me. And then so day 6 continues with developing the desire decoding worksheet. Now you start to categorize them based on what areas of your life, based on the original 7, the prime 7 that he gives you, which again, I'm not going to get into those. That's his information to share. But there's 7 key areas of your life. And so now you start attributing these desires to that. And then you begin to understand that if you actually do want them, because you
Mm-hmm.
may not, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something, you want the money to buy the car to do, whatever, I think he goes through that too,
Yeah.
best the
Yeah.
girl
Yeah.
to do whatever, so you don't really want the money, you want the girl, or you want love.
Yeah. Yeah. He said
So
a
yeah,
story.
so
Yeah.
you just
That
start,
was
you'll
funny.
determine whether or not you actually want something or you don't. And then if you do, why is it? What need does that fulfill in you? And so I just think it was such a really powerful thing. And yeah, it takes time. Like you have to sit down. Now you're going through a list of 100 things, and it doesn't require, you got to put your head into it, but it's well worth the outcome. I just felt like it was a huge a huge opportunity for me to kind of understand me better, you
Yeah.
know. And then you can also catch, like, if you have like 90% of your stuff, it's like thinking about you, maybe you got to check yourself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was it. So days 4, 5, and 6, I think are really key days. They were the most transformational for me thus far. And so I feel like I keep kind of proceeding through the month a little bit every month.
Mm-hmm.
And so, probably I'll become intrigued with some additional days further on in the month now, and going forward. But like I said, I really intend to implement this indefinitely to just continue to grow this out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm reading. I think these are your notes, but it says, I think this is a nice note that
Mhm.
says, "What is a prayer? A
Oh,
prayer is a dialogue with God. What is
yeah. So
meditation?
that goes
Is
back to day 3 when he when
yeah,
he when, when
being
he
with God.
introduces pure meditation.
Yeah,
So yeah, you could. I'm sorry to cut you off. You could define those.
yeah. No, no. Meditation is being with God. Let yourself be, right.
Mhm,
That's what you do when you and he also takes one of the days to teach us, like he said, a meditation, right?
mhm.
And in a simple, very simple way. And I
Just so you
feel
know, the
like
one
it's
that I used actually was just one on YouTube. I looked for meditation, and there was a guided meditation there. That's
yeah,
what I used. So it wasn't
yeah,
even the one we went over with him. But I used that, the body position and all the kind of stuff that he recommended. I did follow from James, but the one I followed was just some random
yeah. He said,
situation.
you really need to find the way that works best for you,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm,
And this is exactly for everyone. The way I meditate, and it's not going to be the same way you find it to be helpful for you,
mhm,
right? The way I do, like, whatever I do, the way I move to process my emotions is not the same way you're going to move, right?
mhm.
But we all find our ways eventually. And I really love that, I've seen that breakthrough in you,
Mhm.
that I can see how your eyes light up now when you talk about our projects together. And that's like dreaming, right? It's like
Yeah.
it really I really feel like I love working with you too.
Mhm.
And I hope it does continue to feel this way. If I don't push it too hard. No. So let me see what else I have in my notes, because I think there are bits and pieces of information we both wanted to share with you, because it's like, so 2 days was the Dream Life GPS, right?
Mhm.
I've said this 1,000 times, and I keep saying it. when you actually put your gifts to the service to others, is when you start seeing the difference.
Yep.
Right? Because when you just dream about me, 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 and everything I want is because of me, and I'm selfish like this, and it's just like it doesn't flow, right? It's not, it doesn't work. I feel like when you actually decide, to put yourself to the service of others, is when things really start happening,
Resources of all types, particularly.
Right. And you share what
They
you
need to
have,
be in
right?
motion. Things need to remain in motion.
Yeah.
Rivers are clear because they're running.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
there was a note about it here. Right. Okay. I wish this was in a different color ink because my eyes are not that great, but it says the central element in your perfect dream life is your abundance mentality. That means accepting the truth that you are not desperately a weak victim struggling to survive, but rather an ambassador of abundant richness, of infinite wealth, and a blessed blessing to this earth, right? We have to recognize that we are, a blessed blessing to this
Read the
earth.
next paragraph because I think that's great.
And the next paragraph says, you live in a perpetual state of more than you need, and that's the abundance mentality, right? And you remind yourself of this truth by giving generously of your time, talent, treasure to meaningful causes with no hopes of reward.
Right.
So when you start living that abundant life, everything starts, of course, with your mind, right? If you accept that you are a perfect creation, and that you're abundant by nature, right? You're wealthy by nature. So, and you start living that way, and you have so much that you have enough to share with the rest of the world, right? So that becomes like the whole actualization.
Yeah, there's no shortage of resources. There's no shortage of money. There's no shortage really of anything. There's plenty.
Yeah.
There's plenty.
Yeah. We just have to remove, and with him too, it's like you really learn to start removing those layers, right? Those layers that were put on top of your perfect you, and those layers that make you believe you're something you are not. So we're kind of peeling the onion, going back to our perfect selves, right?
Yeah.
To that perfect creation God had made of us. So, and this is like huge. It's huge to start removing all this baggage. Who needs to carry all this baggage? It's just too heavy.
Yeah.
It's too heavy, and when you have all these baggage, you cannot pull through. So
Well, and I just think we talked about this on the last episode, but again, it might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility, right?
exactly.
And so, regardless of what your issue is, whatever your soul injury is, or whatever it is that happened to you to color your view of things, it is your responsibility to correct that.
Yeah.
It's not sufficient to say, well, my dad did this to me or my mom did that to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that you're a grown up, now you need to figure out how to leave that go, right? Like as you began the beginning of this call, put that spiritual weight down and go get it. You know what I mean?
Move on.
Get out there and get it. Yeah. I mean, it's not, you're not a victim.
No, exactly. That's what we need to change, right? And
there are victims, but I don't want to,
no, of course,
yeah,
but
obviously people are wronged all the time by other broken people, but
yeah,
you got to pick up the ball and run. That's it.
One of the biggest things in that instance, is recognize that these people are so broken, and all you can do is pray for them, and so you don't get stuck. You don't get stuck in that, in that mentality, in that victim mentality, they were broken, they are broken, and they're not looking to get fixed, you know. So I'll take the responsibility of me moving on from that pain, of me moving on from that victim mentality, because I'm not
You don't
anymore.
get anything for it.
Right? Exactly. And I love that.
Spend it, can't eat it.
Yeah, and I love that there's a day where he dedicates to there's a day he dedicates to rewriting, also rewriting these stories, right? Rewriting the perceptions that you might have, you know, about your surroundings, about how people treated you, about how people labeled you. You know, you have the power to go back and rewrite these stories, you know, so you can come to today and say, I'm okay. You know, I'm okay. I'm in control. You know, this story is not written the way it was anymore. You know, I am capable of rewrite it and rethink it and just let it go. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's great. It's great, and like I said, we're super grateful that we get to do this every morning, and it's a great way every morning, and it's a great way to start your day. You know, I think it was really very brilliant for him to do it at 7 o'clock in the morning, actually, because if it was in the middle of the day with my schedule and the way,
but that's just
right,
for us, right? He's
right,
got people all over the world sign up.
exactly.
So, you know, we have people on the West Coast. It's, you know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning for them. They're getting on this call. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, and there are people from all over.
Yeah.
You know, and different time zones, and they're committed. You know, they're committed.
Yeah.
And it's such a loving community. You know, you feel embraced, you feel like you're being listened to, you know. I feel like it's great, you know, and all of us share a little bit of our experiences and how this is transforming our lives, you know, how is it helping us, especially me. I like to share.
Some of us.
I like to share a lot.
Yeah. Yes, she does.
Well, you know, I spent most of my life thinking my voice didn't matter.
You gotta scare people away.
But now I know my voice matters for whoever wants to listen.
Jessica.
Thank you.
It matters.
Thank you for agreeing. Well, the thing is, like, you know, I cannot keep quiet anymore, you know, because I feel like there is someone out there who needs to listen to my experiences and the things I'm learning to make my experiences, you know, so my experiences don't drive my life anymore, you know. So yeah, this is me now.
All right.
You say you loved it.
I like that you express yourself. It's important. It's much easier to relate to someone who expresses how they're feeling, you know, and it's easy. It's better, you know, to gain an understanding of a person, right? So
yeah, but it is also important too, because I used to be one of those who will feel this emotion and react right away, you know, and I feel like I've learned through these last year, because it's been, you know, it was a very like a breakthrough, you know, it was a huge breakthrough, and I feel like I cannot allow myself to let my emotions decide who I am anymore. You know, I cannot allow myself to act on those emotions. That's why sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to just shush and process, transform, then I can talk, you know, because that had been a big mistake in my experience, you know, to act on my emotions. So I try not to anymore, you know.
Yeah. I don't have emotions.
I like that you don't act on your emotions that quick either.
I know.
You know.
Yep.
Yep. In some cases, sometimes. Well, this was the talk about the 30-day miracle challenge. I hope you guys found this helpful, and if you really wanna make a change in your life and the way you dream and the way you meditate and the way you see things and the way you connect with divine too.
And it's free.
And it's free for the first 30 days.
Which might be enough for you if you're not jacked up like I am.
I mean, we're so into it. We really are very into it. So if you guys wanna have this beautiful spiritual experience, you know, and grow your spirit.
We will put the information in the show notes.
Yes.
And the pertinent links, and we'd love to see you there.
Oh my God! Another thing we forgot to say.
What?
That one thing that James keeps saying every day, and now it's like written over here. We are spiritual beings living in this physical form for this time period, right? And that's so important to know that you're not just this physical form, you are a spirit, you know, and you connect to others through your spirit.
That may or may not be everyone's understanding.
No, I know,
So
but
I'll allow them to figure that out.
Yeah, but I feel like that for me in my experience has been great.
I believe that our time on earth in this human body is a small fraction of our otherwise infinite existence, right?
Yeah.
So we believe that, but not everyone does, and so
I know.
That's fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this is it for today. It was great talking to you as always, Tom.
It's a 6.
He's a perfectionist. Okay. So fine.
No, I'm not a perfectionist, actually. I was a perfectionist as a younger person. And we could do a whole episode on this. And I actually reached such a state of relief in myself when I understood, A, that there was no such thing as perfection. And B, that even if there were, it's rarely worth using that much time pursuing it. And so I believe that you have to have something that's well done and usable as quickly as you can attain a product, service, sentence, piece of art, whatever it is, as soon as you can, you should have something of quality and deliver that to others as soon as you can. And so I'm actually not a perfectionist.
Great.
I do believe in professionalism and doing things.
No, of course, yes.
Properly.
But I feel like in my case, it's more like doing it with all my heart, with all my being, with all my soul, and this is the way I do everything, and I put so much dedication to the things I do. Yeah. That for me, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be, I just have to feel it. That's all.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for watching or listening, we will see you on the next episode. Thank you.